IKARUS mobile management, login, dashboard, navigation and features. Access to the login page of the MDM server is through a standard web browser. This is the login page. At the top right, we are able to change the default display language by using the language drop-down selector. The following languages are currently available: Bulgarian, Danish, German, English, Spanish, Croatian, Hungarian, Finnish and Swedish. Password complexity is determined by the user account policies settings. The administrator has the ability to set the password's minimum length, the minimum number of digits that must exist in the password, and the minimum number of uppercase, lowercase, consecutive and special characters. A maximum retry limit can also be determined, which, if breached, automatically locks the user account for a specified period of time. For difficulties with passwords, use the Restore Account hyperlink within the login area. This hyperlink allows registered users to reset their MDM server password. It is important to note that password recovery begins with the user's registered email address, which is typically their corporate email address. Once logged in, the administrator has access to the MDM user interface. The dashboard displays current information to the administrator, which includes general statistics of the MDM server, the name and number of policy breaches, the number and type of connections, and the number and type of devices. Most of the information is formatted as hyperlinks, which when selected reveal further details. Breadcrumbs are maintained throughout the user session. This allows the easy identification of the current user location within the MDM server. Once logged in, an additional tenant drop-down selector becomes available at the top right-hand side of the screen. This allows the global administrator access to any configured tenancies. Only the global and default tenancies are available when the MDM server is initially shipped. The language drop-down selector is always available. This allows the administrator to dynamically change the displayed language at any time. For example, from English to German, and from German back to English. Primary navigation is achieved through the horizontal navigation bar. Selecting either the Dashboard, Organisation, Infrastructure, Operations, Reports or Settings tab will reveal the associated vertical tabs. Each vertical tab, when selected, reveals further windows of information, configuration, action and control elements. Logs. Tenant-based logs offer a comprehensive filtering system that, when completed, allows the administrator to find the appropriate detail for a given device or user within a specified time period or time frame. The results are displayed in the chosen display language, assisting the administrator in any corrective or remedial action that needs to be performed. Exception logs. The exception log UI is only available to the global administrator. The global administrator would use the exception logs whilst participating with support or development staff. It enables the MDM server administrator to define and therefore the MDM server to collect debugged level log entries relating to specific problems or problem resolutions. Organisation. The organisation function group contains the tools necessary to define the organisational group structure. It also allows us to add user details and their devices. Users and devices. Here is where we may add, delete, inspect, control, analyse and configure users and, more importantly, the user's devices. Device inventory is captured and transmitted to the MDM server, which allows us to inspect and make decisions about the device. From the Inventory tab, we can see such details as the device data, setup data, time and location of the device, along with internal hardware details. Security features are also listed under Inventory. The Details tab displays the contact and enrolment information of the device. The Actions tab allows us to perform a single action or multiple single actions onto a device. For example, install an application, or send a Wi-Fi access point configuration. We can also perform discrete MDM client or MDM server actions onto the selected device. History clearly displays all actions and events that have been applied to the device. We can see, for example, whether an application installed correctly or failed to install. We can also see the current battery strength and a life cycle history. We only hope that our device has not been repaired too often. Installations allow us to view the current applications and certificates that are installed on the device. Hierarchies and groups. Here is where we may add, delete, inspect, update and search groups. User assignment allows the administrator to assign users to groups. Device pool displays the free device pool. The devices in the device pool can be allocated to any user. Device pool management allows the grouping and categorization of multiple devices. Unregistered devices displays devices that were detailed on the MDM server but no longer enrolled. Infrastructure. The infrastructure function group contains the tools necessary to load applications onto the MDM server, define configuration settings that can be deployed to devices manually through device actions or automatically through operations, install certificates, manage Apple volume purchase plans and Google Enterprise apps. Some features are optional and are only available when configured. Applications. Add or remove applications either locally or from Google's Play Store, Apple's App Store or the Windows Store. Configurations. Allows the administrator to add, delete and define configuration details. These details are added to pre-formatted templates. The configurations range from defining access points, Exchange email accounts, auto-lock, IKARUS antivirus configuration, device restrictions, whitelists, blacklists, VPNs and bookmarks, plus many others. Certificates. Here we can add and delete both trust and identity certificates. Apple VPP allows the convenient management of Apple's volume purchase plan. Google Play Store layout allows the customization of device work profile layouts and the addition of Google Play Store apps. Media allows the addition and deletion of media publications such as PDF and EPUB files to iOS and Mac OS devices only. Service history bills. Add device contract information, for example, warranty timestamps. Contracts. Add device contract details plus call and data tariff information and restrictions. Operations. The operations function group contains the tools necessary to configure and define operation actions and settings that can be deployed to devices manually or automatically through scheduled operations. Compound operations. Create a condition logic such as is the device an Android and is the device manufacturer Samsung and is the device model an S7. If all the above is true, then a defined action or multiple actions will be applied to all devices within the tenancy that meet with the associated condition statement. A single action may be send an email to the administrator. Multiple actions may be, for example, add an application, install a configuration, a bookmark and install media to all the devices that match the specified condition. Scheduler allows time-scheduled deployments of system tasks and operations. Reports. The reports functional group allow the system administrator to produce selective reports from the current information held in the MDM server. All reports can have filters applied, resulting in either the maximum or minimum amount of information displayed on screen or exported to a CSV file. Settings. The settings function group contains the tools necessary to configure and control the MDM server. Base. Here we define the MDM server administrators, help desk and read-only administrators. We can also create our own admin roles. Tenants are defined here, along with custom parameter settings. System. Here we define system general options, what should appear on the dashboard, GPS export format, and the MDM client's default security code. Connections. Here we define connection settings and parameters, from device connections through to LDAP, SMS and proxy server settings. Messages. Here we define the system messages seen by users and administrator. This is how we meet and greet our users. Android. Here we define Android specific parameters such as Android push notification, Knox workspace, Samsung KME, the IKARUS antivirus license key, and Android Enterprise, allowing us to create and manage work profiles on compatible Android devices. Apple. Here we define iOS specific parameters, certificates, VPP, Apple's DEP, the device enrollment program, and which MDM client should be used by which version of iOS if found to be running on the device. Windows. Here we define Windows device specific parameters. SSP, the self-service portal. Here we define the self-service portal's general settings and the user account policy, which you have seen before when we talked about password complexity. At the base of the user interface, we are able to see the version number of the MDM server instance. This would typically be used by the administrator, for example, when talking to a support representative. The log off button allows the administrator to exit the MDM server gracefully.